A part of financial independence, now we're going to talk about a different aspect of budgeting. It's called track your expenses. And now it gets a little detailed, and there are apps that are available that will help you to list your income and your expenditure. And what you do is you put everything, you list everything you're spending. And I'm going to put it in the link of these types of app. There's one called Budget App, Every Dollar, Spending Tracker. And at home, if you have a computer, a desktop, you could go on Google Docs, and Google Docs have what is known as a spreadsheet. And with a spreadsheet, all you do is you list, and then every month you section it off and say, this is for the month of March. Then you section, this is for the month. You could do it of April. You could do it for the year. And then you could say, well, a part of financial independence is understanding financial literacy. Now, it is very significant that you get understanding of how the money game is played. And even myself, I am going to do some financial courses. So I'm going beyond what I am saying right now and get more deep in depth. So I'm going to purchase some books on understanding how the money game works. The first thing you're going to now talk about is budgeting. And as I mentioned before, you're going to track the basic ones are your rent, your utilities, and so on like that. But what you could do is you could say, you have a category for entertainment, for food, for groceries. And you list and you track your spending, and then what you have to put aside, and then medical, and then if you have to pay your taxes and all that, you'll start seeing what is needed, and it gives you a snapshot of what's coming up and what you will need shortly. It keeps you informed. And there's nothing that you have, something that you have to just put in the drawer. It's something that you have to have it visually, especially if you're the one who's handling the bills. And sometimes it's good to have someone else help manage it and checks and balances, and it makes it easier. And you review it regularly. Another thing is understanding your credit. Now, that's the doozy, how credit works. And credit works is, how do you spend money, and how do you spend it? How do you borrow it? Are you credit worthy? And this is what I notice when with my rental apartments, and I give the applicant the opportunity to give me their Social Security, and I pull their credit, and the first thing they're going to say is, my credit is bad. It's, again, a history of how do you handle money. Do you pay your bills? Do you repay what you borrowed? And out of fairness, you don't want to loan anyone money and they don't have a good standing with money. That's already kind of saying what's going to be what lies ahead and how they handle money. That's where the credit score comes in. But there's circumstances in your life that will drop your credit score. You could lose a job, you could get ill, and you're unable to pay your bills on time. But the thing is, as long as, and I tell people, as long as you pay a little something, even if it's $3, they will say, hey, this person is trying. Again, they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt, and they will stay with you, and they won't interfere or drop your credit to a certain degree that you lose that credibility. So it impacts how you buy. And the thing is, you can't get something and run. It stays with you unless you're going to file bankruptcy. And that is not good for everybody, especially when you're a certain age. Because guess what? It may stay on your credit report for maybe 10 years. You don't want that. You're going to lock yourself in for what? Lock yourself in no money, no opportunities. You're going to use somebody else's credit, someone else's. You cannot do that. You shouldn't do that. And you have to really think about it. Everything you do affects your future unless you really lucked up and you got stuff going on. And it could happen. But the thing is, as long as you pay little by little. And another aspect of this credit score thing is you have to pay your bills on time. If you can pay at least 3 days prior to the due date, it actually raises your score. You pay early, it keeps your score high. You pay off your debt early, your score goes up. If you have accumulation of different cards, what you can do is you could either work on the card with the highest sum, lump sum, or work on the small ones and pay that off. And then you go in succession and you just bring it down, and then your credit score goes up. A credit is a good thing. And then you have bad debt, which is when you don't pay back what you use. Then you have good debt, mortgage, HELOC, which is you're pulling your equity out of your property and you're purchasing another property. See, that is good debt. On paper, it shows up as asset. You have the value, but it's on paper. You might not have the actual cash until you sell the property or properties. But the thing is, you have to think rich. You have to say, I have a rich mindset, and you have to think like that. And that will elevate you and raise you to liberation. Liberation is changing your mindset, and all of this is what we're doing right now. You're going to learn how to play the money game. Because when President Trump is talking about the stock market, that's another game in itself. And you have to either have a broker or you have to learn how to manipulate the market, when to sell, when to buy, when to pivot. And that takes a lot. But some people just got the knack for it, and I'm not one. And another aspect I have to talk about again and again, stop playing the lottery. You won't win. It is not designed for you to win. And you think about all that money you spend. If you start tracking and look at the amount of cards you have and how much you spend per game and games, you could take that money and start putting it in your savings jar or go to the bank with it. These are the things you need to consider. Now, another aspect of financial planning and financial independence is goal setting. I'm encouraging you to really take a look at how your financial goals are. You need to sit down and write, what do you want? Again, in order to do and to have, it's on you. If you don't like it, change it. You don't like what you're earning, you may have to go back to school. And that's only temporary. Don't worry about financial aid if it's still around. Don't worry about taking the loans. It doesn't matter because when you're in business or when you want to go up, you have to invest and you have to spend money to make money. Don't talk about debt. That is a good debt. I don't even consider it debt because once you invest in yourself, you are now buying into you. You're buying into your future. You're buying into your kids' future and everyone else around you. Guess what? You become more viable. And then you have a bigger and better seat on the market. Because now you're in the marketplace and you're at a certain level. All that's left is for you to climb. So you keep on climbing. So again, going back to goal setting, we're talking about either short-term goals. For instance, you want to put away for a trip or vacation. And the thing is, you have to pencil it in. You can't just keep on being on this Ferris wheel because if you think about it, we are designed, if you're not rich or you're not wealthy per se, you're designed as a worker bee. And guess what? What bees do? Nonstop. And guess what? By the end of the day, you're done. And guess what? Then tomorrow morning, you get up and you start doing it all over again without even taking a break. And once you become financially independent, the name of the game is you may work hard, but you have to learn how to play hard. And if you have a family, you have to let them be a part of it. You got to take them on a vacation. Sit down and pencil yourself in. Put one trip for international and then one for stateside. You're going to stay in the States. You're going to travel. You're going to see different states, but you need to travel. And that will give you a different perspective of what's out there and what people are doing and how they view the world. And the thing is, you would take life a little lighter because you can't keep it up. And that's what is Trump doing? Once on Friday afternoon, not even 5 o'clock. He on the plane by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, gone. And then he starts it over, but he got a private jet. Think about it. Sky's the limits.